Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss as per the Union Budget 2025, the withholding tax rate change and the method. Right, so the process has also changed a little bit. So we are going to discuss about one section which is 194I, which is the rent, TDS on the rent. So let me show you this. As per the Union Budget 2025-26, TDS on rent earlier, it was 2.4 lakh per annum, and from 1st April onwards, this has to be 50,000 per month. Okay, so first thing, the rate has changed. Another thing is the method has also changed. Here it was the annual. Annually, if this amount is exceeded 2.4 lakh per annum, then TDS will be charged on that amount as per the existing rules. As per going forward from 1st April 2025 onwards, the TDS has to be charged monthly. If the limit crosses 50,000 per month, then we have to apply TDS on that. We need to deduct TDS on that. And in next month also, if you are making the payment of rent, which is above 50,000 or up to 50,000, or like which is just crossing the 50,000, there also TDS has to be calculated. Okay, if the rent is below 50,000 for a particular month, then TDS will not be calculated for that particular month. So what has been changed? First thing, the limitation, the exemption limit has changed. This way, if you see 50,000 per month means 6 lakh per annum, which was earlier 2.4 lakh. This is the one change. Other change is that earlier this was annually maintained. If the rent amount paid exceeds 2.4 lakh per annum, right? It can be within 1 month or 2 months or within 12 months. Then only we are going to deduct TDS. But now we are going to deduct TDS monthly. If the certain limit, which is 50,000, if it is crossing per month, then we need to charge the TDS on this. Right, so this is a change. So how do we handle this in SAP? So first of all, I'll show you the process, whether the system is calculating it properly or not. And then I'll show you the relevant settings or the config you need to do in the system. Right, so let's see. Let's go to FB60, and I'm trying to post a transaction in Jan month, and then I'll post in Feb and March month, so that we can see whether this calculation is working monthly or this is accumulating across the months, right? So let's say we are going to post 49,000 for Jan month. I'm taking some random GL account, expenses GL account. Okay, so on 49,000, actually there shouldn't be any TDS because the threshold limit per month is 50,000. So there shouldn't be any TDS or the withholding tax. Now let's go to the withholding tax code because we have multiple withholding tax. So we want to calculate for rent. So I'm going to remove F1, which is for office on professional services. Now let us simulate and see if system has calculated TDS on this or not. Right, so TDS is not calculated. Why? Because this amount is within the limit, which is called the threshold limit. The 49,000 is within the threshold limit, and the threshold limit for this section 194I is the 50,000. So that's why system has not calculated any tax or any TDS. So now let us save this transaction, and we will Now we will try to post one invoice in the next month, 1st February. And here also we are going to post 49,000. So what we are expecting that even though if you plus 49 plus 49, this is crossing 50,000 limit, but this is beyond the month, right? This is not within the month. So still system should not calculate any TDS on this amount. Why? Because that 49,000 was for Jan month and this 49,000 is for Feb month. So here also system should not calculate any TDS. And then we are going to post another invoice after this invoice. Okay, we will exceed this limit of 50,000 and then we'll see on which amount system is going to calculate TDS, right? All right, so simulate and see. So this is working fine. Here also system is not calculating TDS. Withholding tax is not calculated. So now let us save this entry. Let's assume now in the same month, in the Feb month, on some other date or any date is fine, but let's say 10th Feb, we are posting another rent invoice. Let's say we are doing 5,000 payment, 5,000 invoice. So for this month, February month, in total, how much rent we are going to pay? We are going to pay 49,000 plus 5,000 is what? 53,000, right? So this invoice, even though this invoice I'm posting for just for 5,000, but system is accumulating TDS base amount for this entire month. And then it will decide whether the exemption limit or the threshold limit has been crossed or not. So what you say, this is crossed, right? 49,000 plus 5,000 is 54,000, which is already crossed the threshold limit. So I'm removing this irrelevant tax code. And now let's simulate. So now the problem is that the amount which we have given 5,000, actually system has calculated TDS, which is more than the vendor line item. So let me change the amount. Let's make it 8,000. Let's say this invoice which we are posting is for 8,000. Simulate and we'll see. You see now, in total, how much the rent invoice we have posted is 57,000 and 10% is the TDS rate. So 5,700 is the TDS deducted. So this scenario is working fine, right? So the setup should be like the exemption limit is 50,000 per month. If within the month you are crossing this limit, then TDS has to be charged on the entire amount for that month. If it is within the 50,000, then there should not be any withholding tax. So in this example, we have seen first we posted in the Jan month and the amount of the invoice was 49,000, which was within the limit of 50,000. So there was no withholding tax. But now we are posting in the Feb month. First invoice we posted in Feb, that was also 49,000 and system has not calculated any TDS, any withholding tax. Then we are going to post the second invoice of 8,000. Now system has accumulated the amount, but accumulation is happening within the month, Feb month. In Jan month, we just posted one invoice, which was 49,000. But in Feb month, we have multiple invoice. One is of 49,000, other is 8,000. So accumulation is how much? Accumulation is 57,000. And now the 57,000 is the limit beyond the threshold, right? So this is crossing the threshold limit, which is 50,000. So how much it has crossed, that doesn't matter. Total, how much is the accumulation? Accumulation is 57,000 total. So now TDS has to be charged on 5,700, 57,000, not on the 7,000, right? So that's why system has calculated 10% tax, TDS 57,000. So let's save this. This is working fine. I'll show you the configuration setting for this. But before that, I also want to show you one more other requirement is for 194J, which is professional tax. TDS on the professional services. Right, so there the requirement is like TDS has to be deducted on certain, there is also exemption, let's say 50,000 again there. So TDS has to be deducted once the limit crosses 50,000, but that accumulation is the year, not the month. So within the year, whether you are crossing that limit within 2 months, even let's say single month, or across the year, if you are crossing that limit, then only TDS has to be deducted, otherwise not. So here the difference is that in 194I, the rent, this limit is specified for the particular month, but in 194J, this limit will be for the year. All right, so I'm going to post same vendor. Let's say we are going to post for Jan month, but this time we will select the withholding tax code is F1, right? F1, which is TDS on professional services. So let's see here, and the withholding tax tab, F1, I'm selecting F1. This also has 10%. This is 194J. So the condition here is that 50,000, if it is within the year, if you are crossing, then TDS has to be deducted on the whole amount, not just the crossing amount, like above 50,000. Okay. So, okay, we will see. So now I'm posting 49,000 here. This is, let's say, in the month of January, 49,000. So no tax because this is within the limit, which is the 50,000 limit. That's why system is not deducting any TDS. No TDS has been calculated, and which is fine. Now we are posting the another invoice, which we are going to post in, let's say, Feb month. Okay. And let's say same thing, we are posting 8,000 in the Feb month. So what do you think? What should be the system behavior here now? 8,000. Okay, before that, I need to select payment method. There are so much validations. So give the payment method, then withholding tax. I need to select the relevant. I'm going to remove E1, which was for rent. F1 is for 194J. So now, how much accumulation is going to happen for this year? Is what 49,000 plus 8,000 is what? 57,000. This is not within the month, right? This is for the 2 months, or you can say within the year. But this is now going to cross the limit of 50,000 exemption. So now system should calculate TDS on entire 57,000. Right? That is what system is doing here. So system is working properly. Only difference in 194I, it will accumulate for the month, and in case of 194J, it is accumulating for the year. Okay, accumulation. If the threshold limit is being crossed by accumulating the for the entire year, then system is going to deduct TDS on the entire amount has been accumulated. Fine, so this is working fine. This is what the requirement. 194I was clearly given in the union budget, but for 194J, I don't know. It's not given here, but this was the requirement from client. So now let me explain you the what config settings you need to make for this. It's a very small config settings, but very important. So there are only two steps. You go to financial accounting, global settings, you know, all these things. Then go to withholding tax, extended withholding tax, and then in the calculation. Within the calculation, we are going to do the two settings. So first setting we need to do for the withholding tax type for invoice. The same thing you can do for the payment also, right? What I'm going to show you is for the invoice posting, but same thing if required you can do for the payment also. So click on invoice posting, withholding tax type. Okay, so withholding tax type for, let's say for rent, it is IE. Okay, rent. Go inside this. Here, the accumulation type we need to select as per month. Okay, this is the change. If you select per month, then system is going to consider that exemption as per the month, whatever you have calculated in the month. So you need to select this radio button basically. Now, whatever the tax codes you create or whatever the withholding tax codes you create under this withholding tax type, this rule is going to apply. Okay. All right. Apart from this, there is another step. Okay. So let me show you here also the another thing which was for 194J, which the withholding tax was IF, right? IF. So what should be the accumulation type here? This should be yearly, right? Per year. So here we need to select per calendar year. So calendar year, this means the fiscal year basically. Okay, whatever the fiscal year you have your in your company code. Accordingly, system will accumulate all the base amount for the withholding tax, and then it will see in some another setting I'm going to show you. It is going to compare what amount we have maintained over there. If it is exceeding within this year, then system is going to apply withholding tax. So let's see what is that another setting. So in the same menu path only, here is the minimum and maximum amount. So this, if you want, you can do it for tax type also, but to be more specific, you can do for the tax codes. All right. So I have given it for tax code level. Select your country, and we are talking about E1. This is for rent. So for test purpose, I have given the validity date 1st Jan, but in the production, it has to be 1st April. 1st April 2025. This is the valid from date. This is our withholding tax type, and this is the withholding tax code. Now let's see inside this. So here you need to get the validity date from, and then minimum base amount. We need to maintain here the amount which was given here, right? This amount, 0.50 lakh means 50,000. So that amount we need to give here. Similarly, if you see for F1 of IF. So here also they have exemption limit of 50,000, but this is annually. Within the year, if this limit is crossed, then TDS will be calculated on the entire accumulated base amount. So that's all. These are two settings for this requirement. First, you uh, change that radio button, whether this has to be monthly accumulation or yearly accumulation. Then what is that exemption limit that you need to specify here? Once you have done this, right, this is the first step. You make the config change. The next step is that you need to maintain this withholding tax code in the BP master, correct? So let's go to the BP master. This is a BP master. You go to company code segment FLVN00, and there you just need to maintain the tax code as usual, right? Like if for this vendor, if we are going to deduct TDS on rent, then you maintain this tax code here, withholding tax type, and enable this subject. Similarly, let's say for same vendor or can be other vendor, if this is applicable for TDS on the fees for the professional services, then you give this tax code here and the withholding tax type. Nothing else you have to give. This is a very normal setting we do for whichever the vendor is applicable for the withholding tax. Apart from this, usually what we do is that we maintain the exemption limit here, country specific tab, but which is not required in this setting. Right, for 194I, 194J, and similar to this, if you have this kind of setting where we have done this config two-step change, you don't have to maintain any kind of exemption limit here. This will be handled through the config only. Right, so once you do this, and then definitely we are going to test, which we have done, right? Testing we have done already. So this is how you have to do this config change. This is as per the union budget 2025-26, which is going to be applicable from 1st April 2025. Basically for this, SAP has released one SAP note also, so that also you can refer. But this is the whole setting. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. If you really like the effort, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the like button. We will meet in the next video. Till then, bye. Thank you.